Ruben Kihuen, I'm sorry, it's my mistake, totally me. Kihuen of Nevada. He came to the United States as a child with his parents and stayed after his visa had expired, later becoming a citizen. And then Mark Krikorian is executive director of the Center for Immigration Studies. So I guess I want to get from first of all, why doesn't Congress, I know I can play naive and I'll play naive. We have these people here in this country. They are all, for all practical purposes, grew up American, have American accents, think they're American. Let's make it at least non-prosecutable, their situations. Why doesn't Congress just bring the bill up, pass it in both houses, get it to the president, whiz it by, and make it law?
Well, first of all,
codify, in other words, what President Obama did by EO, by executive order.
First of all, let me say that it's disheartening to see what the president did to these 800,000 young dreamers. You know, these are young Americans who grew up in America. You know, just 2 days after he said that he loves the dreamers, it's very disappointing.
So what
now it's in the hands of Congress.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
So we have co-sponsored the DREAM Act and also the American Hope Act, two great pieces of legislation.
What will bring this problem to a close? What will reenact, in effect, what Obama did for the dreamers?
Okay, what we need to do, Congress needs to stop playing political games with these young dreamers. We have to come together like adults.
How do you bring the vote to the floor?
Well, you know,
how do you make it happen?
Speaker Ryan has said multiple times that he is interested in working with the Democrats. We have to bring enough Republicans on board. And I can tell you this, every single Democrat in the caucus is in support of the DREAM Act. We need to bring Republicans to the table.
Is it going to happen?
I would hope that this happens. These young dreamers deserve an opportunity at the American dream.
Sir, what do you think about this? Are you for or against the Congress codifying what Obama did?
I'm for it under certain circumstances. The president getting rid of DACA was necessary. It was an illegal act by President Obama. That's
by
different.
But that is a very controversial claim, because it is in effect now, and there are some attorneys generals who are fighting it. I agree. But you say you speak for those 10, or who do you speak for when you say it's illegal?
The district court in Texas, the appeals court, the Fifth Circuit appeals court, and the Supreme Court ultimately didn't rule that it was something that should be was allowed to the president. Obama himself said before he issued it that it was beyond.
Well, the question now, what should the policy be? Can the policy be enacted by Congress, and should it be?
Yeah, the answer is yes, but the reason the DREAM Act hasn't passed until now is because from the beginning it was a marketing gimmick for amnesty for all illegal immigrants, rather than trying to focus. That was the whole point of it, because when the Dreamers a number of years ago tried to cut their own deal, they were cut off at the knees.
Okay, there are mixed signals right now being sent to the Dreamers. I'm trying to get the straight signal. The president reiterated yesterday he has love for the Dreamers, but in talking points distributed by the Department of Homeland Security, there was a blunt message for those Dreamers. Quote, this is an official document today. The Department of Homeland Security urges DACA recipients to use the time remaining on their work authorizations to prepare and arrange their departure from the United States. Congressman, what's that supposed to say?
Well, look, the bottom line is these 800,000 young Americans, they're already going to our universities. They're already working. In Nevada, 13,000 of them. Across the country, 800,000. Right. This is going to have, if we take away this DACA status, $640 billion economic impact, adverse economic impact in our economy in the next 10 years. So these young dreamers are the future of America, and we're taking away the only dream that they know. I myself, I was a dreamer. I am the first dreamer to ever serve in Congress.
Tell me your history.
Well, my family came here. My father came here, took advantage of Ronald Reagan's 1986 immigration reform. 2 years later, I arrived here with a legal status. We overstayed our visas, and then we were able to readjust because this country had compassion. This country had an immigration system that actually worked.
How did you get legalized, if to use the term? How did you become a citizen?
We were adjusted through Ronald Reagan's 1986 amnesty. We were able to readjust our status from an expired visa to a valid visa.
Did you come before or after the act was passed?
We came after the act, 1980.
And you qualified for that. I didn't know it didn't work for the future. I didn't know that.
So my father was the first one who became legalized, and then he petitioned. But again, I know the fear that these young Americans are going through. Now I'm a member of Congress. These young Americans deserve an opportunity at the American dream, just like it was afforded.
Okay, you know what I never hear? I never hear anybody talking about how we're going to end this debate and have a comprehensive bill and put it behind us like any other country in the world can do. Why can't we have a progressive, American, prideful immigration policy that we're proud to enforce? Why does that elude us all the time, sir?
We can't. This is too big an issue to have a 1,000-page bill bill to deal with everything. Dealing with the DACAs is possible. It's a targeted measure. The reason
every other country in the world has an immigration policy. Why can't we have one?
We have one too. We just have a badly run and messed up one. But specifically on this issue, the reason the Dreamers haven't gotten green cards is because the promoters of the DREAM Act have never been willing to negotiate, to compromise. And
well, wait a minute, we have a bill. Let me just start with it, because we know in 2015 there was a bill that passed the U.S. Senate. I believe you supported, Congressman. It had 14 Republican supporters and the Democratic Party behind it. It swept through the Senate with like 67 votes. It should have been enacted. The House, because of the Hastert rule and the refusal of the Republicans to bring it up, never became law. But we need a law, don't we, that we believe in?
The problem is...
See, you're
no, I'm not. Because
don't we need a law that we believe in?
What happened in 1986,
okay,
that was the problem, is the lack of credibility. We can't believe in it. 1986, the deal was amnesty in exchange for enforcing the law in the future. It was a con.
Well, why don't we pass, okay, Congressman, I know where you stand. Why don't we pass a comprehensive bill that has restrictions on people being hired illegally in this country, get rid of the magnet of illegal jobs, but also make it possible for people who have made their lives here to be Americans eventually? Well, it seems to me that's the deal. Chris, it's on the table. The right wing won't accept it. I think that most progressives will take it if it's put on the table as a deal.
Look, in we had a bill that included border protection, passing a background check, to confirm that you're not criminal. E-Verify. It included funding for border agents. It included, learning English, but all with the path to citizenship.
I agree.
That bill should have passed.
What was wrong with it was not the idea, but the sequence. Because it was a repeat of what we had in 1986.
But you're never going to...
The enforcement was never going to happen.
You can't start with the enforcement on hiring before you legalize people. You got to give them a promise, or else we'll be arresting everybody for illegal hiring. Anyway, you got to put the sequence right this way. Anyway, U.S. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.
Ruben Kihuen, thank you for joining us, and thanks for being an American. In fact, that's a good thing, too, since you get to be a congressman if you get elected. Mark Kikorian, keep up the fight. It is a legitimate...